Xem nhiều hơn tại App WAMI, Lời Chúa bên bàn. Đa dạng nội dung, Lời Chúa cho mọi lứa tuổi. Tải App WAMI ngay, bạn nhé.
Today's question is, why have so many claimed to see apparitions of Mary? In this video, I'll answer that question from a biblical perspective. Then afterwards, as always, I'll share some helpful resources, so stick around until the end. Many people claim to have seen apparitions of Mary or other Catholic saints. However, biblical teachings don't speak highly of supernatural visions that go against sound biblical teachings. Why then do people claim to see these visions, and how should we interpret them? Human beings were designed to be with God, so we naturally desire spiritual experiences. This can lead us to jump to conclusions, misinterpret, or overreact to situations that seem to be supernatural. It also makes us vulnerable to false teachings. It's not unusual to see what we want to see or expect to see, and this can lead us to interpret an odd experience as an apparition of Mary. True messages from God are unmistakable and in harmony with the rest of His Word. Apparitions of Mary, by their very nature, cannot be either one of these. Sometimes those who claim to have seen an apparition of Mary are simply lying. Sometimes basic human superstition or misunderstanding comes into play. Most claims regarding apparitions of Mary involve vague details, few actual witnesses, and so forth. People looking for mystical signs, patterns, or apparitions will tend to find them even when they aren't really there. This is an attitude the Bible actually discourages because it distracts from the legitimate moments when God truly speaks through supernatural means. It is quite possible that some of those who claim to have been visited by Mary did have a real supernatural encounter, although the supernatural being contacting them was a demon masquerading as Mary rather than Mary herself. None of this is to say that every claim regarding apparitions of Mary is due to overt satanic influence, or that all people making such claims are blatantly lying. But every spiritual claim must be judged against the written Word of God. God can in fact speak to people in visions and dreams. He has also, on occasion, sent angels to deliver His messages. However, the Bible clearly warns that the devil is capable of creating visions and experiences as well, so we can't treat every such incident as if it comes from God. Instead, we must compare our experience to the fixed, objective, written words of God and to the doctrines they teach. Any apparition that contradicts or undermines the Word of God is a lying spirit. There are no biblical descriptions of apparitions or appearances of the dead, other than when Saul consulted a witch who conjured the spirit of the prophet Samuel, 1 Samuel chapter 28. This event seems to be unique in history, however, and the Bible is clear that we are not to communicate with the dead. The question of whether these visions support false Catholic doctrines must be considered when interpreting apparitions of Mary. In other words, there are more biblically sound, reasonable explanations for apparitions of Mary than simply accepting them at face value.